Welcome to a new daily top AskReddit video. Today's topic:
what are the real-life cheat codes that work almost every time? Had a young woman working for me. We worked closely together on a number of projects, so we got to know each other, warts and all. She was a very capable person, but there were times when she could be a pitter. But everybody at work, from the CEO to the loading dock, loved her. I asked her one time why everyone loves her the way they do. She said that whenever an interaction with someone else is ending, no matter what it was about, even if it was contentious, she always said, did something nice too, about that person. That way, she said, the last thought they had of her was a positive one. Now that I knew that was her trick, I started looking for it when we were in larger meetings, groups. Sure enough, she did it, and did it sincerely. Real-life application of Angelou's: they may not remember what you say, but people will remember how you made them feel. As a corollary to this, some of the best professional advice I've received is to ask about the other person after business is concluded. I.e., instead of how was your trip transitioning to I need this report, start with I need the report and end with how was the trip. When you ask about them after the business is concluded, it shows you're choosing to make the effort, as you no longer have a social requirement to make the small talk. Obviously depends on the situation, group, etc. Quickly build a meaningful relationship. Someone. 1. Compliment them on something they do well. Be as specific as possible. 2. Ask them for advice on how you can also do this thing well, just like them. 3. Actually listen intently to their advice and apply it. 4. Follow back up with them and share the great results you experienced by applying their advice. 5. They will love you, root for you, go out of their way to help you, and will always give you the benefit of the doubt when you fuck up. Hell, they may even offer the daughter's hand in marriage. So, only do this people who you want a genuine relationship with. It's that powerful. There is not a single person on this planet who is impervious to this tactic if done sincerely. You wrote this comment really well. I like how in-depth your answer was and how you gave everything in steps. Do you have any advice for how I can do this as well as you? He has 2 daughters, which one do you want? When you are working on something, like continuous progressive work. Leave your work on something interesting so it's easy to restart. Works with coding projects, writing books, even constructing things. And the opposite can be said for TV show binging. Every episode that ends with a cliffhanger makes you start the next episode to see what happens. If you stop mid-episode, it's a lot easier to break from the binging. I've often said the last 10 minutes of a bingeable TV show are really just the first 10 minutes of the next episode. It's so much easier to walk away and do something else when the major parts of the current episode are mostly wrapped up, but the setup for the next episode is just starting. Something I learned as a teenager. When complimenting women you don't know or perhaps just aren't close to, as a man, compliment something they had active control over. Say, a choice in eye makeup. Or perhaps color coordination of their outfit. Even a logo. Complimenting body parts is risky as you don't really know in what ways that person might feel insecure about themselves, and it shows you're actively creeping. Every time I tell a woman her nails look cool, their faces light up. I like being remembered as the guy that noticed something she went out of her way to do. Always the accessories. Nice scarf, nice shoes, nice nails. Can't miss. Plus you don't sound creepy cause these are things they expect other women to compliment them for. So it's not a, I'm hitting on you, compliment. Absolutely stay the fuck away from body parts. Even it is something like eyes or whatever. Nice IUD. I told someone I loved her earrings, they were mini Millennium Falcons. She lit up, and said, you're only the second person to ever comment on them. Quote. She married the first commenter though, didn't she? How can a woman walk around in the real world with Millennium Falcon earrings and not get comments? The shit people talk about others behind their back always has a way to get back to the victim of the shit talk. I realized this, and, though I've never been one for backbiting, I actively started saying nice things about people behind their back. I'm not sure I have a good metric of whether it works as a cheat code, but personally I would sure feel great if somebody told me something nice a coworker or colleague or friend said about me when I wasn't around. Also works with kids. Kids, and adults, tend to be suspicious of direct praise or compliments. But if you discuss with your partner how well the child is doing, or how proud you are, or how kind they were, in the child's presence, the kid is going to internalize that you mean it sincerely. I love this because your voice, as the parent, will become their inner voice. Being really nice to customer service reps. Sounds basic, but it's wild how often you get upgraded, refunded, or helped way faster just by being cool to the person who deals with everyone's anger all day. Also, being rude to CS will never get you what you want. Being rude to the automated phone system has worked for me at least once, though. If you act confident, even if you're faking it, people rarely question you. Confidence is basically the human version of pressing up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A, start. Be confident with what you actually do know, but don't fake things. Sometimes someone will challenge you on something and the faking part will be obvious. Then they will think you are dishonest. Being perceived as dishonest is worse than being perceived as not knowing something. I would rather someone tell me they do not know something than make something up. Confidence comes not from always being right but from not fearing to be wrong. Peter T. McIntyre. The rate of return on even small amounts of time, e.g., 2 by 25 minutes per week, spent doing resistance training is a real-life cheat code to unlock years' worth of physical health and mental health. Invest minutes, reap years equals cheat code. Almost every day I do 2 hours of resistance training after my kids go to bed. I resist eating every piece of candy in our house. Almost every single day. I can vouch for this. 20 years ago when my first partner became ill, I ended up being her primary caregiver. That meant I had to be available, in our home, often 24 hours a day. I bought an inexpensive treadmill and a set of cheap weights so I could find a way to get some physical exercise. I've managed to develop a small habit and keep it going since then. While the authorities say that men start losing muscle mass in their 30s, this regimen has resulted in the fact that at 66 years of age, my one representative max in a number of different lifts is heavier than it has been at any other time in my life. I'm expecting this to end in the foreseeable future, but I'm enjoying boasting about it while I can. Closing parenthesis. I knew a woman in her 70s who had beautiful, muscular arms. I asked her what her routine was at the gym. She said, never set foot in a gym. I just never pass up the opportunity to lift something heavy throughout my day, groceries, laundry, books, my fat dog. You can't control other people, you can only control your response, is a mantra I breathe daily. My personal version of the serenity prayer: Gods, grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change. The strength to change the one I can, and the wisdom to know it's me. When a task seems too big to start and kind of overwhelming, I'll give myself a 5-minute assignment of working on it before I do something else. 5 minutes of prep work, 5 minutes of research, 5 minutes of cleaning. It's easier to be overwhelmed by an entire task than it is to be overwhelmed by just working on it for 5 minutes at a time, and sometimes you get to the end of that 5 minutes and find a little bit of gas in your tank you didn't have before. I use this as advice to my extremely messy kids when I tell them to clean their rooms. I tell them, just pick up 10 things. That's it. A little later, pick up 10 more things. It doesn't work on them, but it sounds good to me. If I'm waiting for my wife to get off the phone or stop texting or get dressed, all I have to do is start up a video or a game and she's instantly done and wants attention. Works every time. I'm scared to write this down, but I do the same thing with my guitar. If she's, or the kids, are taking too much time getting dressed, I plug in my guitar and play around just loud enough to be heard across the house. She takes great joy in hurrying so that she can call out to me that they're all ready to go, and that they're waiting on me, and I'd hate to deny her that joy. I'm the wife here, but this works tears of joy. If he's taking sweet time, I load Hogwarts Legacy or Assassin's Creed and he is much faster. This is a big one. You know when you're walking along a narrow street and there's someone coming toward you, and you end up doing that awkward little, will I go this way or that way, dance with them until you finally get the fuck out of each other's way. Excruciating, right? Well, I've not had to do that shit for decades. Because instead of looking that person in the face on approach, I very purposefully look over one of their shoulders, indicating without words on which side I intend to pass them. That easy little visual cue works every fucking time. But I like the opportunity to say, put on some music and we could dance. Quote. When you are walking somewhere at work, carry a piece of paper, glance at it occasionally like it's important. Everyone will assume you are doing something. This can also work as a student in HS, by the way. Reminds me of how carrying a ladder can get you in anywhere. Just look like you know what you're doing and people don't question. Or a clipboard. You see a 1-2-1 pattern in Minesweeper, the mines are in front of both ones. Every time. And in a 1-2-2-1 pattern, the mines are in front of the twos. I've ended up being a trainer at every job I've ever had. Anytime someone messes something up that you've taught them on more than one occasion. No problem, make the same mistake all the time. They don't get hung up on it. Next time I get to that step, remember this is the thing I've messed up before. Boom, they get it right. Thing learned. Learn to ask for help. Normally we want to solve all situations, issues, tasks, jobs ourselves, but it is not always possible. Most of the time we require help from others, but we are incapable of accepting or asking for it. Analyze the situation, and if you think it may be beyond you, ask for help. If for some reason you need something from a person with whom you do not have a good relationship, personal, work, etc., Use this psychological strategy that they taught us in the master's degree. The way for that person to let the guard down is to ask them for advice. People feel important when you ask them for advice and they automatically stop being defensive. Be kind, be gentle, be nice. Then in the rare occasion when you do get upset, people will notice. People who get upset or are belligerent often, we tend to just tune them out. Their baseline is, asshole, they're always yelling and cussing, so it's not even noticed, just background noise, like, boy who cried wolf. But when a nice, quiet person starts yelling and cussing, everyone notices. Sweet Deborah, who's always cheerful and nice and pleasant to everyone, when she gets upset and starts crying, everyone thinks that is wrong, and immediately drops whatever they're doing to try to set it right. Not just yelling and cussing, either. When the quiet man who never speaks does speak up, people listen. Because it's unexpected. Beware the fury of a patient man. John Dryden. I have similar advice. Always tell your kids the truth. Always, no matter how awkward or uncomfortable it is, tell them the truth. Then, on the rare occasion that you have to lie, they will buy it hook, like, and sinker. Example, when my niece was small she busted her head open. The eye doctor said she needed stitches and she freaked out. Absolutely hysterical, refused to let any doctors near her, it was a mess. Finally, I looked her right in the eye and said, okay, you win. No stitches, but the doctor has to clean it or it will get infected. So we'll just let him clean it, and then we'll leave. No. Stitches. She calmed right down, let the doctor clean her cut. He put in 5 stitches, and didn't complain a bit.